Yo, just first things first, right? I know I am in kind of an awkward position right now. Yo, pause. You know what I'm saying? Look, I just jumped out of bed right now. You know what I'm saying? To be like, let me just quickly record this one because it's not my typical, the typical topic points that I jump on. You know what I'm saying? But it might just be considered, my little passion, no, legacy project. Because at the end of the day, I am African. You know what I'm saying? And it's only right that y'all at least bump into a couple content pieces, a couple content reaction pieces where I react to some African activity. You know what I'm saying? To some African history. This is the History Reaction channel, History Action, A1W127. You know what I'm saying? We are looking at ancient Africa before the world changed. And you know what I'm saying? Okay, for this one, bro, look, it's not even a matter of, yo, let's take it up, let's see if it can go up. No, it's literally, yo, for Africans, hopefully by Africans, damn, because a whole lot of people be misconstruing a whole lot of origin stories from environments, the origin stories that happened around environments that they try and tell it about, you know what I'm saying, whereas they're not from that environment, you know what I mean, and then there's a whole lot of misconstruing that can have, look, it can be a lot, you know what I'm saying. So since we go according to just the title and just the thumbnail, I'm not too sure if these people might have got like certain details correct. You know what I'm saying? I guess this might just be a reaction where we correct a whole bunch of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. Let's see.
To the skies, cries, sour momentum, passive with goodbyes, I'd rather you tell them. But now the truth is I've digressed from all the feelings, so it's forever though. But my mama's son is missing, ain't no telling, do they love or did they kill him? The dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning.
It was good. Bringing to you the ancient African timeline before the world changed. Now, first things first, before we get into all of that, ladies and gentlemen, good to see y'all, right? Even though I'm seeing y'all through these dark lenses right here, right now, right? Let me explain them. I guess I'm gonna have to do this, on all 6 channels. Feel me? But yeah, bro, like the shades, you know what I'm saying? That's the elephant in the room. So yeah, crazy little story. I was in the doctor's office yesterday. Yeah, doctor's office because I had these little head pains that have been troubling me, as of recent, and it's the kind of head pains, they resemble migraines. You know what I mean? I have been a person that's experienced migraines. I've had phases when I've had my migraines pull up, you feel me? And so, but then these were freaky, they were so different, bruh. You feel what I mean? And so now what would happen is that every time they hit, like light would sensitize these migraines, and the pain would be so, it would be crazy, right? It would be like somebody's like driving, I don't know, some sort of chainsaw through the right side of the back of my head, like, or on my eye, like, you know what I'm saying? So it was bad. So I had to go see the doctor. Actually, I did not know this before hitting the doctor, and then he was like, yo, actually it's like some sinusitis effect, right, that's going on, and they producing these migraine pains. But then now every time light would hit me, even the sun, bro, even being in the sun, that's why being at work, it's kind of hell past 2 weeks, not gonna hold you. So now luckily I got some treatment for that, you feel me? So I just took some of that treatment because it did pull up just now. Facts. I know you see in the intro, I got like the clear glasses. I'm not, you know what I mean? It was still chilling, but then after that it pulled up. I had to take the treatment right quick. You know what I'm saying? Because it was starting. But then I was like, yo, let me assist it even more by rocking these shades. You know what I'm saying? And then whole time underneath the shades, bruh, you see how my eyes be? Like, because it's this side of my face, of my eye, that's like experiencing the pain. So under these shades, I might have to like wink the whole time. You feel it? Like, I'm just like, it's crazy. I know, some of y'all may not care about like all this yapping right here, but as we are here, folks, gathered today, we are looking at ancient Africa, dog. As I said, bro, in the intro, it's not about no hype effect or whatever. It's just just reacting to some detail that the internet got about my environment, so to speak, you know, because we are in Africa out here in this corner. Why are you running? Why are you running? Not my fault.
That mapped the heavens
No,
to be Nile's root.
Starting the very start, buddy. Let's get it. What's this? Is this Egypt?
Long before colonial maps were drawn, Africa charted the stars, built cities of stone, and crowned divine kings. But they erased the timeline until now.
Why? Right? That's the main question. That's what we hear.
What you're about to witness is not mythology,
What is it?
and it's not revisionism. It's history.
History Store.
Suppressed,
Oh yeah, by the way, the name of the channel, right? That's History Store. History Store. History Store. Tap in with them if you find, you know what I'm saying, deeper interest with this video beyond this reaction. Let's get it.
distorted, and forgotten. This is the Africa that predates conquest, that existed in its own cosmic rhythm,
Let's see
with
it.
its own centers of power, science, and spirit.
Yeah, nah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Just, you know, the quick opening remarks, right? For me, you know, even being curious about a title like this one right here is because I'm obviously born after, you know, post-colonial Africa, right? I'm born after that whole thing, so I'm just like subject to everything that the colonial powers and influences have had on Africa. I'm just like, that's my whole reality, right? But I have always been interested, especially like in a country like where I'm at, South Africa, right? That's like the most one of the most, or the most westernized like country in Africa, you know what I mean? And so with that in mind, it's like, yo, I'm used to what I'm used to. I'm not used to the original Africa, you feel me? And for the most part, I'm not gonna lie, I've been curious, like, yo, before people was wearing like t-shirts that we wearing right now, hoodies that we wearing right now, shades wearing little blah, blah, you feel me? You know, there's this whole imagery of like just like animal skin and shit like that. But you know, I see the Ethiopians, they had some garments going on, you feel what I'm saying, like things like that. But like beyond the fashion though, just culture in general, you know what I'm saying? I hear buddy over here said it was cities of stone, you feel me? Okay, cities of stone. And I do, I've heard here and there about the pyramids and yeah, I'm trying to hear further, man. Like, indulge a nigga, you know?
For too long, the history of Africa has been compressed into a single tragic narrative of slavery and colonization.
Oh, yeah. Cannot forget about that. Like, yo.
But what came before that is a far greater story. One of genius, gold, and galaxies.
Yo, and also the question of like Africa being such a, having such vast resources to a point where it attracted foreign predators, you know what I'm saying, to want to come and even steal resources and even come to a point of colonizing places like Africa, right?
It was a blank canvas waiting to be discovered.
Right.
It was already vibrating with astronomical knowledge, architectural mastery, and sophisticated systems of governance and spirituality.
Talk about it.
Let's start at the beginning.
Let's go.
Not the colonial beginning, but the true beginning.
That's what we here for.
Long before the Sahara became desert, it was a large expanse of green savanna filled with life, lakes, and people. These ancient Africans didn't just survive.
What happened?
They observed the skies, marked the solstices, and aligned massive stone structures with the movement of stars.
Yeah.
At Napta Playa, near the modern border of Egypt and Sudan, an astronomical stone circle was constructed over 7,000 years ago. That's older than Stonehenge. These weren't just nomads.
Wait, let me see if I remember this structure, the name of the structure. This is the African calendar, right? Adam's calendar, I think. Hold that. What's the African word? Fuck. Damn. I forget it. Like I'm gonna remember it. I'm gonna teach y'all even how to say it and everything. It's interesting. Trust me.
They were early scientists building cosmic temples to map time and honor the heavens. Farther west, in what we now call Algeria, at a place called Tassili Naja. lies one of the greatest open-air museums of human history. Thousands of rock paintings and carvings depict a world rich with spiritual ceremonies, agriculture, and advanced societies, dating back as far as 10,000 BCE. These are not the images of chaos or disorganization.
Yep.
They are the earliest visual records of humanity's quest for meaning, for balance with nature, and for connection with something higher.
Yeah, even their expression.
Meanwhile, along the fertile banks of the Nile,
You know, the expression of their reality and how to interpret it. Obviously, they had these pictures. You know what I'm saying? That's what they was crafting.
Kada were laying the spiritual and technological foundations of pharaonic civilization. These early Nile Valley peoples practiced sacred kingship, mastered irrigation, and built communities structured around a deep understanding of the cosmos. They revered balance, Ma'at, as a cosmic force, not just a moral one. In these societies, spirituality wasn't separate from science. The stars told stories.
Yeah.
The sun measured time. The river itself was a divine artery. And then there were the ancient civilizations of the south.
Yeah, because, you know, for the most part, I feel like nature, you know what I mean? Nature to these people, nature was God, bro. I feel like to a certain degree, bro, because nature is one of the aspects of your environment that you cannot even, shit, okay, let me just switch this light on. As I told y'all about my condition, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to switch it off, yeah, when I'm not, like, doing the yaps. But anyway, you know, nature is, you know, these neighbors' gods. Because now nature is the part of your environment that you cannot control. I mean, you cannot control like when it will rain and things like that, right? But it's like people would, you know the tales of like the rain dance and rain worship and things like that. I feel like they understood that, you know, the higher power lies in aspects of nature they could not control. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the higher power. That's like they gotta do certain sacrifices to appease that, da 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 da. You know what I mean? So nature was a big part of, like, obviously, you know, something that would explain to them their reality, bro. Like, they had to work with like the 4 seasons. They had to work with the stars, bro. You know what I'm saying? They had to work with like climate changes and things like that, as per like, you know, their agricultural activities. You feel me? And like the food that they had to, you know what I'm saying? Shit was like that. Actually, that was their science. I almost was like they weren't like, you know, how science expresses reality, expresses spirituality in like the context of today, but they had their own kind of like science, bruh, and it you know, it correlated with the nature, bruh, and the patterns of the nature and shit. Like, I feel like that kind of intelligence is actually like pretty deep, like pretty, you know what I'm saying? It's cool as fuck. Like, people, you know, tap back in with just like aligning with nature in a way where you can understand it scientifically. Boom, you know what I'm saying?
Hara, cities that flourished long before desertification buried them in sand.
Certification.
Before the camel caravan routes and the trans-Saharan trade, there were settlements and networks connected by water and culture. In the early Niger River regions, there were societies planting the seeds of what would later become Nok, Mali, and Benin. These were the deep roots, the early echoes of empires to come.
For real?
But ask yourself, why aren't these histories taught? Why do mainstream timelines jump from Egypt to Greece?
Nah, like I kind of might just have a rough idea. I don't know. Correct me in the comments, right? I feel like obviously with the state of the world being where it's at, it's a whole lot of agenda, you know, of the highest power. You feel what I'm saying? The elites, you know, people of old that have been ruling the world and have been selfish in maintaining the power that they attained by going out and stealing the world, you know what I'm saying, colonize it. Come on, man. So obviously it's the information that they initiated, right? It's the information of how they are just victorious and glorious. I'm talking about the power, the colonies, dog, that just like rule the world, and the agendas of the Is the British still a monarch? Or am I even saying that right? You know what I'm saying? Like, since the times of, rulers and kings and this, that, and the third, and what was this? Theocracies ruling the world, right? When popes had the powers and you had the Roman empires and blah, 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 you feel me? And then just the colonies of those people. Like, obviously, the propaganda that they put out is what they would want the parts of the world that they have control over. It's their information. So anything predating that, it's like nobody's gonna record that. Nobody's gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's like if I want to come take over your hood and things like this, and I want to maintain absolute control over that. I'm gonna want to control the information. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore I will change the history. If I want to take control of the information and propaganda, I'm changing the history, because I'm gonna tell the stories that involve me. Screw what happened before that. Facts. But that's only my analysis, man.
Greece, from Rome to the Renaissance, with Africa disappearing somewhere in the margins.
Talk about it.
Who benefits from this erasure?
Good question.
And what do we gain when we remember? This is not just a story of kingdoms and dates. It's a story of worldview, of how time, power, and memory are shaped. To erase a timeline is to erase a people's place in history.
Oh.
And to erase that is to deny their role in
erasing their whole entire DNA, bro. Making them blind to who they really are in terms of maybe their curiosity, wanting to know that shit for themselves. Facts, boom.
Death and eternity. So in this documentary, we will journey through the true African timeline, from the prehistoric wonders that mapped the heavens to the Nile's riverine empires that built cosmic cities.
Yo, you know what I also wish to know, bro, is like how the spread. Okay, I know it comes from the slave trade and everything, and that's how Africans spread across parts of the world that they are at. You know what I'm saying? Diasporically speaking. Yo, I don't even know if that's a term, but you know what I'm saying? How Africans just ended up being dispersed across the world. You feel what I'm saying? But I want to know even the deeper details of how that went on. You feel me?
Challenges everything we think we know about civilization, culture, and power. Let this be your first step in reclaiming that history. Because once you see the timeline they erased, you'll never look at the world the same way again.
For real. Let's do it though.
The Nile was not Egypt's alone. It was a shared cosmic river of power flowing south to north. When most people hear the Nile, they think only of pyramids, pharaohs, and the golden mask of Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
But that iconic image is just a fragment of a vast and ancient story. The Nile was more than a river. It was a lifeline that connected a constellation of civilizations, each with its own vision of the divine.
It was a connecting power. It was a connecting force, in other words. Yo, just real quick, bro. I just want to, test the volume of the stream, bro. Okay, just give me a second, bro. Okay, 10 more seconds, literally. Nice. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay.
Each contributing to one of the richest cultural tapestries in human history.
Where did this Nile start, right?
This was a sacred artery of science, spirituality, and sovereignty, where black dynasties rose, fell, and left their marks, not just in stone, but in the DNA of global civilization.
Yep.
Around 3100 BCE, a unification took place in what would become known as Kemet, the land of black soil of black people. Two kingdoms, Upper and Lower Egypt, were brought together by a leader remembered as...
Hold on, bro. Because I do understand the fact that... Oh, shit, I gotta turn this light on. Let me just adjust the dimness of the light, bro. Because literally, bro, the condition that I'm telling you about is serious, bro. Don't be thinking I'm playing with y'all, right? But look, real quick, right? I understand the fact that even when we talk about black people, right? Tribes that originated north and migrated south. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to the southern point of Africa. You know what I'm saying? I just want to know if that was part of the group of people that originated as Kemet, right? As the Kemet people, right? Introducing my boy Co-Pilot. It's been a minute, Co-Pilot. How are you doing, sir?
I'm here and ready to help. Let me know what you need.
Yeah. So, okay, look, I'm kind of gathering that the people of Kemet, ancient Africans, right? People of Kemet, were those the original people of Africa? Like, was the concentration of African people, did that originate in the northern parts of Africa?
Ancient Kemet, which is roughly modern-day Egypt, was indeed located in the northern part of Africa. The civilizations there were among the earliest in the region, and they contributed significantly to African history.
Okay, so were those the only African people in Africa, or were there other African, people that originated in other parts of Africa during this time?
There were definitely many other African peoples across different regions of the continent at that time. Ancient Kemet was one of the well-known civilizations in the north, but other groups lived and thrived in various parts of Africa as well.
What are those other groups?
There were many other groups across the continent. For example, in West Africa, you had the Nok culture, and in the Horn of Africa, you had the Kingdom of Aksum. Overall, there was a rich tapestry of different peoples and cultures throughout Africa during those ancient times.
So who ended up migrating southwards to, create the people that ended up, being, oh my God, what am I saying? Ended up creating the Zulu, the Nguni tribe. Yeah, the Nguni tribes that migrated southwards. Who were those people, and where did they come from? Wasn't it people that came from Kemet, that broke off from Kemet or whatever?
The ancestors of the Nguni people, who were part of the larger Bantu-speaking groups, originated from Central and West Central Africa. Over many centuries, these Bantu groups gradually migrated southward in what is often called the Bantu expansion. They didn't directly come from Kemet or break off from ancient Egypt, but instead moved in waves through eastern and southern Africa, eventually giving rise to the Nguni tribes and others.
So at the time of this happening, what was ancient Kemet like? How were they living? What was their situation?
Ancient Kemet, or ancient Egypt, was a thriving civilization with a rich culture and advanced achievement in architecture, writing, and governance. They had a structured society along the Nile, built monumental pyramids and temples, and engaged in trade and agriculture. This was the context in which they lived, while migrations and expansions like the Bantu migration were taking place further south.
Alright, go on.
Nama or Menes. This unification wasn't just political.
Unification.
It was symbolic. A merging of cosmological systems, agricultural practices, and spiritual authority. The early dynastic period that followed gave birth to the world's most iconic structures, the pyramids. These were not tombs of ego. They were cosmic machines designed to mirror the stars, encode time, and reflect a divine order.
For real?
Every brick, every angle was a conversation with the heavens.
No, for real?
But Egypt, or Kemet, did not rise in isolation. Its very existence was entangled with older, southern civilizations that mainstream history often ignores or downplays.
Talk about it.
The kingdom of Tarseti, located in what is now southern Egypt and northern Sudan, predates dynastic Egypt and may have provided the very model of kingship and sacred rule that Kemet later adopted. This region, Nubia, was no periphery, it was the original source. The dark waters of the Nile from which northern grandeur was eventually drawn. By 2500 BCE, the kingdom of Karma emerged in Nubia. It was one of the earliest and wealthiest urban centers in all of Africa, with monumental architecture, vast burial sites, and a complex social hierarchy.
Nice.
Karma's power and culture rivaled that of Egypt. and archaeological evidence shows that it was not merely a follower, but a formidable parallel force. The Egyptian pharaohs themselves feared the strength of Kedema's armies, which at one point even marched northward to occupy parts of Upper Egypt.
Northward?
Later, out of the same Nile Valley came the Kingdom of Kush.
So these people were like purely black people too. These people was purely black people, right? Hold on, let me see something. People of ancient Kemet. Yeah, co-pilot. So people of ancient Kemet, those were like melanated people, like just 100% black people.
Ancient Kemet was a diverse civilization with people of varying skin tones. They were indeed indigenous Africans, and many would have been what we might describe as melanated or having darker skin. However, the region also had interactions and a mix of neighboring cultures over time.
So is there a indigenous race of people that were, you know, born out of Egypt, or was the concentration from other parts of the world that came to just like, you know, gather in Egypt?
There were indeed indigenous peoples who originated in ancient Egypt. They developed their culture locally over thousands of years. While there were influences from neighboring regions and some migration, the core population and culture of ancient Egypt were homegrown in the Nile Valley.
Go on, brother. Well, like, why am I seeing like just black people here?
In greater complexity.
Okay.
These were the Black Pharaohs, rulers of the 25th dynasty, who conquered
Black Pharaohs
and ruled over all of Egypt itself.
For real?
The great Pharaoh P led a peaceful campaign from the south, not to plunder Egypt, but to restore spiritual balance, uniting the land under Ma'at,
From the south of
the
Egypt.
principle of cosmic harmony.
Cosmic harmony?
Temples were restored, sacred texts were recopied. The Kushites did not merely rule, they revived.
The Kushites.
Meroe, the later capital of Kush, became a city of iron, art, and astronomy.
Okay, wait. Like, I'm just, I'm gonna have to interrupt the whole thing, like, through asking these questions to my boy Co-Pilot. I miss my boy right here. Yo, Co-Pilot, please break down, you know, the variations or the diverse, you know, aspects of ancient Egypt, like the dynasties of ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt had a long timeline with many dynasties and periods of change. The civilization is usually divided into the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom, along with intermediate periods in between. Each era had its own pharaohs, cultural developments, and architectural achievements, showing how diverse and dynamic ancient Egypt really was over time.
What are Kushites? What is that?
The Kushites were an ancient African people from the Kingdom of Kush, which was located to the south of ancient Egypt in what is now Sudan. They had their own rich civilization, and there were periods of both conflict and cultural exchange between Kush and Egypt over the centuries.
What type of group were Kushites? They were a kingdom?
Yes, exactly. The Kushites formed the Kingdom of Kush.
So
which
how
was-
many kingdoms were there?
Ancient Egypt is generally divided into three main kingdoms.
Oh, so those are the Kushites were like what kingdom? Like first, second, or third?
The Kingdom of Kush didn't fall into the same Egyptian kingdom categories like the Old or New Kingdom. Instead, they were a separate kingdom to the south of Egypt.
Tell
They
me
had
about
their-
tell me about these three kingdoms. What are the three kingdoms? Name them by name specifically.
The three main periods are known as the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom. The Old Kingdom is famous for the construction of the pyramids. The Middle Kingdom is often seen as a classical cultural era, and the New Kingdom is known for its powerful pharaohs like Ramesses II and the expansion of the empire.
Alright, brother.
While much of the classical world was still forging bronze, the Kushites had developed large-scale iron smelting industries, producing tools, weapons, and architectural elements with remarkable sophistication. Their pyramids, smaller, steeper, and more numerous than those of Egypt, remain scattered across the Sudanese desert. They stand today as silent testaments to a civilization that was as spiritual as it was scientific, as political as it was poetic.
Yeah, because bro, that shit was deep, bro. They built a whole, you know what I'm saying, like that thing. It took a culture's, you know, spiritual energy, bro, not just blood, sweat, and tears to build that. You know what I'm saying? That's a deep monument over there.
Punt was a trading partner and spiritual king of Egypt. It was known for its wealth in gold, ebony, ivory, exotic animals, and most famously, frankincense and myrrh, sacred resins used in rituals and burials. Queen Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs, dispatched a legendary expedition to Punt around 1500 BCE. The journey was so significant that it was immortalized in relief on the walls of her temple at Deir el-Bahri. Punt wasn't imagined, it was real, and it was powerful. Its rulers met Egypt as equals, and its spiritual influence flowed into temples and tombs along the Nile. Even farther to the southeast, in the highlands of modern Ethiopia and Eritrea, early cultures were laying the groundwork for what would become the Aksumite Empire, a rising force that would eventually connect African trade with Rome, India, and Byzantium. These Proto-Aksumite societies, flourishing as early as the first millennium BCE, developed terraced agriculture, monumental stelae, and the religious traditions that would later form the backbone of Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity. Though they stand outside the Nile's direct path, they shared its cosmic worldview, one that saw kingship as sacred, land as divine, and time as eternal. All of these Nile-connected civilizations had one thing in common.
What's that?
They saw the universe as a live.
Oh. Can y'all hear that? Hold on. Like an ice cream truck tone going on outside my... shit, y'all can't hear that, right? Thought it was like super like loud. It was destructive. What the hell is going on my screen though? Alright, cool, my fault. Let's get back to it.
The temples were not just places of worship.
Not?
They were microcosms of the cosmos.
Beautiful.
The rulers were not merely political figures. They were living embodiments of divine forces.
Like how?
The writing systems, from hieroglyphs to Meroitic script, were not just tools of administration, but portals.
I'm not gonna lie, here's another thing that I just quickly want to know from my boy Co-Pilot, right? Hold on, just a second, bro. So Co-Pilot, right? Hold on. Take me out. Yo, Co-Pilot, so did the rulers of ancient Egypt, like from the different kingdoms, did they have like advisors? Or did they make decisions just purely independently?
Yes, the rulers of ancient Egypt did have advisors. Pharaohs often relied on a network of officials, priests, and viziers who provided counsel on political, administrative, and religious matters.
I was about to ask, and these were not political figures, right? Surely they were. Some of them.
Yes, these advisors were definitely political figures. They held significant roles in the government and had a lot of influence in decision-making.
So, yeah, the influence of politicians. You know what I'm saying? The age of dawn, whatever the
realms.
You know what I'm saying?
To live in these civilizations was to live in dialogue with the universe.
Seriously?
So why is it that we often hear about only one of them?
Good question.
Why is Kemet praised while Nubia is forgotten?
Nubia, that's what I was talking, bro. Nah, Co-Pilot, bruh. Co-Pilot, dog. Yo, Co-Pilot. Like I was asking you about the kingdoms of ancient Egypt. Why you never mentioned anything about Nubia?
Nubia was indeed significant in the history of ancient Egypt.
Okay, okay. What other kingdom was like Nubia?
Another kingdom that was similar to Nubia in terms of its relationship with Egypt would be the Kingdom of Kush. Just like Nubia.
Okay, Kush, Nubia, what other kingdom existed?
A notable kingdom that also interacted with ancient Egypt was the Kingdom of Axum. It was located further to the southeast in what is now modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. It became a major trading power and had its own influence in the region.
Bro, I keep saying, bro, we trying to learn here, bro. And sometimes when I be asking you some stuff, you don't be giving me these kind of details. This is what I wanted to know. Okay, so it's what? Azia, Nubia, and Kush?
Yes, exactly.
So
in
those like that's the that was ancient Egypt in a nutshell, basically the entire thing.
Yes, that's a good nutshell summary. Essentially, ancient Egypt interacted with neighboring kingdoms like Nubia, Kush, and Axum. Each of these kingdoms played a part in the broader regional dynamics of the time.
I go on, brother.
Why are the black pharaohs of Kush left out of textbooks?
Why are the block?
Why is Punt dismissed as myth and the roots of Axum buried in footnotes? The answer lies not in the evidence.
I think it's in the power of that kingdom, right? Because the power of the thing determines the impact that you'll have. They probably was just I don't know, bottom of the barrel type kingdom. It's like having like the modern day government. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. If you're from South Africa, brother, bottom of the barrel when it comes to like certain minority groups, which actually make up the of like people. The kingdom that's like, aka the modern day government that we have right now, it's not gonna have much of it in the future. You know what I'm saying? As far as history is concerned, I'm telling you.
But in the agendas. To acknowledge the fullness of Nile Valley civilizations is to accept that Africa was not a continent waiting for discovery. It was the beginning of discovery itself. As we move through this timeline, remember, power did not flow down the Nile, it flowed both ways. From Nubia to Egypt, from Punt to Thebes, from Kush to the world. This river carried more than water. It carried ideas, gods, gold, and greatness.
Seriously?
It was the original bloodstream of civilization, and it ran black. The Nile was not Egypt's alone. It was Africa's cosmic river. And its banks were home to some of the most astonishing civilizations the world has ever known.
Right. Oh, this man just switched up on us like that?
While Rome rose.
No. Now, with that being said, you know, we gotta hit it with a quick little, you know what I'm saying, word from the sponsors, bro. Don't just switch up on us like this. Let's do it.
Have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living. So it's back against the world. Seeing all your value once you dealt with all the dirt. Backing up slowly from these diamonds and pearls, quote unquote.